you so much for joining me today. My name is Jocelyn. I'm the CPNP for Niwasa, and today we're going to talk about language milestones in the first about 2 years of life. So if you watched my last video, we talked about movement milestones, and one of the things I mentioned was that the Canadian websites seem to be pretty quiet on those milestones, but for some reason, they have a lot to say about language milestones or language development. So we're going to combine some information from the Government of Ontario's website, Early Childhood Development, and the CDC's checklist for language milestones. Another thing to note is that unless you've been living under a rock for the last 2 years, you've probably heard of the COVID-19 pandemic. And due to the pandemic and due to mask use, we are seeing globally a decline in early childhood language skills. Does this mean that, they're never going to speak properly? Absolutely not. Children are so resilient. Children literally go through war zones and end up becoming doctors. We don't have to be too concerned about the long-term effect of this, but the fact is that if you have a 2-year-old right now, you might notice that they have some language delays. There are absolutely so many opportunities and so much time to work on these skills, and your children will be speaking fine, don't worry. But if you are noticing some delays, it might just mean you need to use some different kind of strategies. It might mean a conversation with your doctor or a speech therapist. And by all means, if you want to talk to me and talk about some strategies and any concerns you have about your child's development, you are more than welcome to call, email, text, any way you want to get in contact with me. All right. And again, please keep in mind that if your child was born early, you're going to want to look at the milestones for their corrected age. So if they were born 8 weeks early and your child is 4 months old, look at the 2-month-old milestones. And also, if your child has special needs, they are going to hit their milestones in their own time and in their own way. So please talk to your doctor or to me about more information for that. All right. Well, thank you so much, and let's get started.
Language development actually begins during pregnancy. They can hear your heartbeat, words, and music. Newborn babies can recognize their mother's language as being different from other languages, and they may be able to recognize familiar songs and music. Make sure you talk to your baby during pregnancy to help build your bond and their language skills. By 2 months, your baby should be making some sounds other than crying, and also should be crying sometimes. They will react to loud noises and should be able to calm down when spoken to by a caregiver. And they should be smiling at you when you talk, at least sometimes. To support their development, make sure you talk, sing, coo, make sounds and facial expressions at them, read to them or tell stories, be responsive to their needs. And remember that when they're crying, they're trying to communicate with you, and that is one of the steps to language development. Limit your own screen time and make sure you're giving them tummy and back time. By 4 months, babies should be able to make some sounds like ooh and ah. They would make sounds after you talk to them, so they'll start sort of taking turns with you. And they should be turning their head towards your voice, and they may be chuckling when you try to make them laugh. To support their development, respond positively when baby is making sounds. Smile at baby, talk, and act happy when baby responds with sounds. Take turns making sounds at each other. And then, of course, continue to talk, sing, drum, tell stories. Label the toys they hold, their diapering materials, and the world around them. They're absorbing so much right now, even if they can't say much. We're going to jump all the way to 9 months. By 9 months, baby should take turns making sounds with you, should look when you call their name, and respond to sounds like knocking or ringing. And they should be making some consonant sounds like ba 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 ba, or ma 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 ma, or da 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 da. The one part of this that I don't love is the milestone of looking when you call their name. My two babies could not do that at 9 months. They didn't know their names. So at the 9 month appointment, that came up, and I said, yeah, they don't know their names yet. And so we just started working on saying their names to them more instead of calling them like, oh, sweetie, or baby, or muffin, or other nicknames. And by 12 months, they knew their names. So don't worry too much if there's, a couple that they aren't hitting yet. To support their development, repeat their sounds, make consonant sounds at them like pa 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 pa. Teach them to wave bye-bye and other gestures, use infant sign language, encourage baby to look at pictures and books, label the foods they're trying and other things in the world around them, and of course continue to talk, read, sing, drum, tell stories, and allow them to interact with their world. By 12 months, baby should have at least 3 words and can use at least one or more gestures like waving bye-bye. They should call their parents by mama or dada or baba or another special name, and they should understand the concept of no. That doesn't mean they listen to you every time. It means that they at least would look up and acknowledge that you've said no to them. To support their development, respond when baby points to something and label what they are indicating. If baby attempts to label something, so for example, if they bring you an apple and say, aho, aho, reward their effort. Say, awesome, you're right, that's an apple. Make sure you limit their screen time and continue to read books, sing songs, tell stories, drum, and any other kind of interactions you can think of. The CDC separated the 15-month and 18-month language milestones, but really they were very similar. So I put them together here. So in that range, you want baby to be, trying to say other words other than just mama and dada. So trying to say apple or cat or dog or whatever. They should look at familiar objects when named. So if you say, where's the boots? They should be looking over at their boots. They could follow simple directions like give me the ball. And by 18 months, you'd want them to be using about 20 words. They should be making a few different consonant sounds. If your child is not saying about 20 words by 18 months, it might be time to investigate other ways to help them. So that can mean watching some YouTube videos made by speech therapists on how to communicate with your baby effectively, or it could be taking them to a doctor for an assessment and maybe to Lansdowne Children's Center. But it's no reason to be worried. If they're not saying 20 words by 18 months, it doesn't mean they're going to be delayed. It might just mean they need some new strategies. So by all means, contact me or your doctor or other community providers for any kind of help. To support their development, give gentle encouragement and support their efforts. Repeat the words they are trying to say and label the world around you. Encourage pretend play and encourage empathy by labeling their feelings or the feelings they're witnessing. Ask simple questions like, where is the cat? Talk eye to eye as much as possible and work on labeling their body parts. And now baby is 2 years old. They should be able to point to something in a book when asked, where is the dog, for example. They should be able to say 2 words together like more milk, can point to at least 2 body parts when asked, uses more than 2 gestures like nodding, pointing, for example. And their words should be understood by other people at least half the time. To support their development, continue to use the correct pronunciation for words, but do not correct their words. So, for example, if my daughter comes up to me and says, "Juice," I would say, "Oh, you want some juice, please?" "Sure." I didn't correct her, but I repeated it back to her correctly. Continue to talk, tell stories, sing, drum, read, play games, etc., and limit screen time to 2 hours a day.
Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you learned something. Please, if you have any comments or feedback or questions, by all means, contact me anytime. Thank you, and goodbye.